G'day, how you going? All right? Today what I want to talk to you about is a really important thing called work-life balance, or as I prefer to call it, life-work balance. So I'm going to go through and give you 7 ways that you can actually get that balance as a business owner. Look, when you're at a regular 9-to-5 job, then there really isn't much you have to do to maintain a work-life balance. You go to work in the morning, you come back in the evening, you spend some time with your friends and your family, you maybe go to a movie or a restaurant for dinner, or you take the kids to some park and you have some quality time. Now, some people realize that they actually can't stand the regular 9-to-5 job, so they switch to freelancing. Being a freelancer, they don't have to be at an office, they don't have to report to anyone. They can work from the comfort of their bedroom anytime in their pajamas. Sounds like heaven, doesn't it? Not so much, because not everything is as good as it sounds. When you're at a regular job, you don't have to be bothered about the business. Somebody else takes care of the business. Work comes to you, you just need to finish it on time. When you're freelancing though, you need to manage the client, you need to take care about the project plan, you need to do estimates, you need to do deliverables, and you literally end up managing the whole project, whatever it happens to be. Being a one-person army, it sometimes does get really hectic when you're doing freelancing. So here are 7 tips from my freelancing experience to maintaining a healthy and productive life-work balance. And the first one is, strangely enough, maintain a fixed time for working. Now look, freelancing does give you the freedom to work at any time you like and to be your own boss. But you need to be disciplined about this because you need to put enough time aside to actually be able to get the work done. If nobody's watching over you, sometimes we tend to be a bit lazy and we let things drift and we procrastinate, and the work that was supposed to be finished at a certain time, we haven't done it, so we end up doing an all-nighter simply because we weren't properly organized. And that may actually have consequences for the client, so you want to be very careful about that. And the other thing that does is it leads to an unhealthy lifestyle as well. So from my perspective, I get to the office every morning at 8 o'clock. Whether it's Corsica, which is the work island in my kitchen, that's what we call it, or my desk at the co-working space. I build my day around that. I get my cycle rides or my gym sessions or my mat stretching done around it. I get my cup of tea in bed with my partner done around that, and feeding the cats as well. And then I go to work and I come home around about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I rarely have desk work to do at night because that's when I catch up on reading articles, spending time with my partner, doing a bit of blue sky planning, and talking with people in time zones behind the UAE. So that's anybody in the UK or in the US. And it makes me really effective, okay? Number 2, learn to say no when your plate is already full. It's quite tempting when you have constant inquiries coming your way. The money's good, but bear in mind one thing. Never commit to something without having a proper delivery plan, because you're only going to upset you and your client. Think about what you already have in hand. How much more time are you going to need to wrap up the current project if it's taking all of your time? Do you really have the resource and time to take on another assignment? Well look, this is where you need a really good work plan system so that you can plot out the time each project takes, and you can see where the overload areas are at a glance. So for my money, have a look at Rike, FeedCamp and Trello. They all have pros and cons and they're different costs and so on, but what I like about them is they all have Gantt charts, which as far as I'm concerned are the best way for seeing where the overloads and the critical paths are for all the projects that you're working on. If you've never seen a Gantt chart before, go use these Rike, FeedCamp or Trello and they'll help you enormously. Okay, the third thing is to make sure that the project details are discussed and documented before you start. You want to make sure that all the details of the project are down on paper before you start working. Often your clients might even be in a different time zone, so sitting up late every night to discuss project details or to try and get some clarifications doesn't really sound very healthy, and you should try and avoid it at all costs because it really does impact on quality of sleep, and therefore it impacts on your work-life balance. So once you've got a project in place, that's going to be your reference guide while you're actually going through and doing the work. And if any conflicts come up regarding the actual outcome, you can always refer back to the documentation that you did. It's absolutely critical. Do not start the project, whatever it happens to be, without having it documented properly. And then manage any additions or modifications to the gig once you've started it, because it's not a good idea to be modifying or adding new features, because actually that's going to bugger up your planning. So the idea is to get everything into it the first time round. Now, if for some reason it has to change, then freeze what you're doing, okay? Stop, and then check what impact the new set of things that they want is going to have on your planning, and what it's going to cost the client to do it this way rather than the way that you had originally decided. So agree on the changes and the price before moving ahead, and that'll make you a lot more relaxed. Okay, number 5, build paid vacation time into your hourly rate. Oh, hourly rate, what's that? Well, luckily enough, if you have a look online at businessmentals.com, we've got a way that will show you how to build your hourly rate, because you need it. As a freelancer, it's easy to worry about the fact that any time not spent working is time that you're not earning an income. But unlike employees, you often don't get benefits like a paid vacation or any sort of personal leave, and it can become extremely difficult to justify taking time out when you really need it. Now, many freelancers actually decide on an hourly rate based on how much they'd like to earn in a year and how many hours they expect to be working. They just don't do a very good job of calculating their hourly rate. And I told you before, we've got a template at businessmentals.com that you can have a look at. When you're deciding how many hours you expect to be working, just include the hours that you expect to take off as well. So if there are 2,080 work hours in a year, which there are, then take 160 off that number to give yourself 4 weeks holiday. Then do the rest of the calculation of your hourly rate based on 1,920. Oh, don't forget to also take off public holidays as well. Maybe that's another 80 hours. So it's probably best to work out your hourly rate based on 1,840 hours. Now, if you've already worked your vacation time into your rate, you're going to find it so much easier to give yourself permission to take some time off for you. And point number 6, schedule some time off in your diary. There's an old saying that work expands to fill the time available. So close out some times throughout the year for you and your family if you have one. One highly successful freelancer I know even adds in the cost of her airfares and her accommodation to her holiday destination into her calculation of her annual expenses. And so therefore what hourly rate she needs to charge. So she earns her holiday with every hour that she charges for. Not a bad idea. Number 7, make one weekend day a total non-work day. Now the best analogy I can give for that is the feelings that I have on Saturday when I don't have to get on that bastard bike or go to the bloody gym. All I have to do is my stretches. I'm training for a 100-kilometre bike ride at the end of November. I've never ridden that far, so I need to be in training right now. I love Saturdays, but I also love Fridays, which is the start of the weekend here in the UAE, because I don't do any work on that day. My brain doesn't switch off, so I just jot down notes wherever I happen to be. I'm even walking through the supermarket and, oh, I've just jot that down. I carry a little pad and a pencil with me. But what I do on Friday is I learn to make scones, I get my pasta machine working, I listen to music, I go to the galleries, I do a bit of aimless shopping, I go to the garden centre. I don't sit and read while the sun is shining. It just seems a waste to me. Now, before I did this, I found myself working every day, and I can tell you it destroyed my marriage and it created great divides between me and my kids. I'm relieved to say that now they've forgiven me and we have a great loving relationships. But when I travel to visit them in the UK, I never work when I am there that they can see. I start at 4 o'clock, which is 8 o'clock UAE time, so that's not a problem. And you know what? The first time they see me, I'm cooking their breakfast. I've got my work done and now I'm looking after them. I'm giving them quality time. So, there we are, some ways that you can actually make sure you get some work-life balance. If you like the topic, we have an upcoming online course that will teach you in detail everything that you need to know to get on your feet and build a business using your skills from scratch and get that quality work-life balance. And the link is in the description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe because it'll help support the channel. And if there's anything that you'd like for me to talk about, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to be part of the notification squad to get notified every time we upload, because I respond to questions in the first hour. I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to go and have some more Saturday afternoon, and I'll catch you later.